No activity can be successfully pursued by an individual who is preoccupied, since the mind, when distracted, absorbs nothing deeply, but rejects everything which is, so to speak, crammed into it. Living is the least important activity of the preoccupied man, yet there is nothing which is harder to learn. Learning how to live takes a whole life, and which may surprise you more, it takes a whole life to learn how to die. In a previous video, I talked about how the average young person spends 3 hours a day on social media, and that if you live to be 80 years old, that's 10 years of your life. How different would our lives look if we put that 10 years into pursuing our goals? In my opinion, the number one thing that's going to hold us millennials and Generation Z back from achieving what we want out of life is time lost to social media. And not only the time lost, but living with a distracted mind. Most of us have trouble for focusing for more than 5, 15, 20 minutes without checking our phones. And as Seneca says, what does he say? The distracted mind absorbs nothing deeply and rejects what is crammed into it. Many successful people will tell you if you really want to excel in your life, hone your focus into one area and master it. Don't try and balance 10 things at once, because then you'll be pretty good at 10 things that thousands, millions, or billions of other people are pretty good at too. Honing your skills in one area separates you from the pack and can give you a more significant opportunity for success in that field. Sinking deeply into the task at hand, undistracted, in many cases allows us to produce our best work. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements, if it were all well invested. For most of us, our free time is pretty limited. Work takes up a good portion of our day, and what's left over can often be wasted on activities that bring little value to our lives. Things like Netflix, social media, pointless conversations. Seneca reminds us that this is a waste of life, and if we can achieve so much more if we invest that time into something that's meaningful. That could mean a side hustle, exercising, learning something new, reading. All of these things bring value to our lives and allow us to avoid feeling like we're just a cog in the machine of society. You live as if you were destined to live forever. No thought of your frailty ever enters your head. Of how much time has already gone by, you take no heed. You squander time as if you drew from a full and abundant supply, though all the while that day which you bestow on some person or thing is perhaps your last. Have you ever spent a day with someone and then at the end of the day when you go your separate ways, you're like, holy shit, what a waste of time. And I think that's a big reason why people say that dating, especially online dating, is overrated, because there's so many times where you show up to the date and you're 10 minutes in and you're like, no. This is not the right person. And you can't escape, and you lose like an hour, 2 hours. And gentlemen, sometimes you gotta pay the bill. If you took her out for dinner on the first date, like, bro, you're a sucker. And you leave and you're like, my wallet is more empty and I just lost 2 hours of my life. Sometimes we even have friendships with people who we don't really want in our lives anymore, but we don't have the courage to tell them that, and we waste our own lives feeding in to that toxicity. Something I shared on my community page last week as something that drives me forward is, I think one of the main questions I'll ask myself when I reach the end of my life is, did my life matter? Did I make an impact on this world, or did I merely exist? And knowing that that day could come at any moment really reminds me of the fragility and preciousness of life, and of the time we're given. So next time you're in a situation where you feel like you're wasting time, remind yourself that it can be taken away at any moment, and in a blink of an eye, you'll have reached your old age, and looking back at the one shot you had at life, you can smile and say, I did what I wanted to with the time I was given.